friends. Welcome to Story Behind Podcast. This is the show for people who love hearing a good story and who believe the world could use more positivity. We're the team behind God Updates and God Too, and we hope these weekly short stories will brighten your day.
Robert Irwin gets emotional as he discusses his father's impact on others. Written by Adam Staten, read by Julie Provost. Robert Irwin gets emotional as he discusses the impact his late father had on the lives of others. Of course, death is sad and a painful part of life. Losing a loved one is never easy, and the experience will always result in a ton of hurt and heartache. That is especially true when losing someone as close as a parent or sibling. In fact, that sting will often linger for decades and likely for the rest of your life. Robert Irwin knows what it's like to lose a parent. His father, Steve Irwin, was killed during an interaction with a stingray. The time of his dad's death, Robert was only a child. He, his mother, and his sister were left to a brave life without their beloved father and husband. Years after his dad's passing on a recent podcast appearance, Robert choked up when he was speaking about his father. He specifically talked about how his father had touched and impacted other people's lives. He mentioned that he often had random people approach him and inform him how much they loved and adored his late father. This is probably the most powerful thing, Robert said. People will come up to me, and it's a very emotional thing. And people will say, I grew up without a father figure a lot of time, you know? People will say, whether that's through death, whether, whatever circumstance, that these people will say, I grew up without a father figure, and your dad, Robert, was a father figure to me. Robert understands that he was incredibly blessed to have the father that he had, someone who meant so much to others, even if it was just for a short time. I lucked out, he said. I really lucked out big time. Ephesians 6:4. And you fathers, do not make your children angry, but give them training in the teaching and the fear of the Lord. Little boy comforts his mom, who is in tears as she sees him for the first time after accident. Written by Heather Riggleman, read by Julie Provost. When Joey Marcio lost his foot, he didn't fret. Instead, this little boy comforts his mom, who is in tears as she sees him for the first time after his accident. I just have to keep telling myself that all this is happening for a reason. For us, God has a plan for this little boy, and it's not something that we understand right now. But this is his plan for him, whether we understand it or not, she said. When Kirsten saw her young son, Joey, for the first time after a lawnmower accident resulted in the amputation of his left foot, she was heartbroken. Yet in that moment of despair, it was Joey's comforting words that brought her solace. After he came out of surgery that night, I was of course in tears, and he just kind of took my head in his hands and said, Mommy, what's wrong? Kirsten recalled. I just said, I'm really sad, buddy. The accident occurred on a bright summer day when Joey watched his grandfather, Mark DeLuca, mow the lawn outside their New York home. Joey, an active little boy who loves tractors and helping with yard work, made an innocent split-second decision to run up behind his grandfather's riding lawnmower. Before his grandmother could reach him, Mark unknowingly put the mower in reverse and a tragic accident ensued. In the midst of chaos, Mark's quick thinking and application of a tourniquet likely saved Joey's life. Joey was airlifted to Boston's Children's Hospital, where he underwent a series of surgeries on his foot, culminating in the difficult decision to amputate. Throughout his recovery, Joey had displayed an extraordinary level of strength, maturity, charming nurses and doctors with his positive outlook and mature demeanor. He's a very strong kid, Kirsten said proudly. It's almost like talking to a teenager. He's very well adjusted. Joey's resilience has inspired his family and brought them closer together. The way he comforted his mother in her moment of need speaks volumes about his character. His unwavering positivity and strength are a testament to the human spirit's ability to triumph over adversity. Kirsten, her family, and the community are deeply grateful for Joey's remarkable perspective and bravery. They also thank God for Joey's positive nature and the outpouring of support they received during this challenging time. Joey's story is a poignant reminder of the power of love, faith, and the incredible resilience of the human spirit. Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand.
Thank you so much for listening to Story Behind Podcast. We're really glad you joined us for this week's story. To see photos and videos that may have been referenced in this episode, check out the links in the show notes. And if you enjoyed what you heard today, subscribe to our podcast, and please tell a friend about us. We'd also love it if you'd rate us and leave us a review. It really does help more people find us. Story Behind is a Salem Web Network production.